Yeah. So why is skill development important? I mean, you coming here to do an MBA program. An MBA program is all about management, learning about management, learning. So you got books which will teach you management, which will teach you about HR, which will teach you about marketing. So why do you need to have skill development?
Due to
Yes,
market demand, they
market
need
To
demand.
skilled
enhance
people.
what we
Skilled
learn.
Work
people.
more efficiently.
Sir, to improvise in future things and
Sir,
all
it
Okay.
will
Because
then
Sir,
ultimately help
to
us.
gain expertise in what we learn and how to use it.
basic requirement
Expertise.
of
Okay.
corporate
So
workplace.
basically,
You,
skill sets help us to keep up apart from others. If we are good at something, we are good for others also. Like
Okay.
that.
sir, it
I mean,
helps
based
us
on
Help us
these,
improve personally and
to
of
self
course like help us to
development.
achieve certain goals that we are keeping.
One at a time, please. Yeah.
Sir, it
Yeah. Who's speaking?
helps us at personal level also and in corporate world also.
Okay. Skills are important. Okay.
So in order to
Achal.
tackle any difficult situations, like
So it's
whatever
better to upgrade
situation,
yourself according to a dynamic environment.
Okay. To upgrade yourself. All right.
So to be able to
sir, it
practically
gives
apply
us
the knowledge that
advantage
we have
rather
gained.
than
Just
other
theoretical knowledge
normal
is not enough.
graduates.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Great.
your
So
personality
the last
growth.
2 years, we've all been through. We've seen how the world has changed, right? In the last 2.5 years, we've seen times which were never imagined. We've seen situations which probably never would have been even thought of earlier, and the entire scenario around us has changed, right? How is this impacting skills? How is this impacting the jobs? Right? There are reports which have been done, research reports which say that the jobs which are available 5 years ago, 70% of or 50 or 60% of those jobs are no longer there.
Yeah.
Right? In the next 5 years, the job scenario is going to change totally again. So you need to keep on evolving. There's a new age coinage to this entire thing, which are called as the new age skills because of VUCA, because of COVID, because of all these things that have happened. These are called as 21st century skills. All right, let me just take you through some of them. These are the 4 C's. These are learning skills which talk about critical thinking, talking about creativity, collaboration, and communication. Out of which communication is one of the most important ones as of right now. But communication has been important all throughout, right? It's been one of the most important, let's say, skills that anybody would need to be able to succeed. All right, but because of how things have changed, we've had to collaborate with people on using, maybe technology. Using of technology which people are uncomfortable with, or having this kind of an interaction which we are having today, was not probably thought of. I would not have thought of this maybe 2 years ago. In 2019, somebody had told me that in 2 years hence I'll be doing a session like this. I would not have believed them. Right? But I'm doing it today. So it's collaboration. Similarly, creative thinking and critical thinking, because of the situations, like I put you into the situation of decision making. When you're in an organization, you need to think critically. You need to look at the object. You need to look at a problem objectively rather than getting deeply involved in it. Unless you look at a problem from a 35,000 viewpoint, or a bird's eye view as we call it, you're not going to understand what is around that problem, right? So these are skills which are called as learning skills. All right. Second part is about literacy skills. These are the 3 types which talk about information literacy, where you can get information from various locations. You can get information from different sources, right? And most of them being in terms of sources like internet, etc. You can get all this information from. The second is media literacy, understanding how this information is published. You are all aware of how WhatsApp has changed the entire concept of information being shared, where you get a lot of information which might not be correct also, but we tend to believe that. That's information. That's media literacy. You need to be able to differentiate the correct from the wrong. All right. And then there's obviously technology, because you've got so technologically advanced, we've got so technologically involved that you need to have technological literacy. All right. It's the second part of literacy skills. And the third part is the life skills, which is the most important. All right. We're talking about flexibility, which can also be spoken as maybe adaptability. how you adapt to different situations, which we've seen in the last few months, in the last 2 years. People changed, people lived, people went to work from home, people are now coming back to offices, people are working hybrid, all the situations, right? So that's flexibility. How did you adapt to different situations? Leadership is another very critical life skill that you need to have, because you're working with people. When you're working with people, there's a big difference between being a manager and being a leader. All right. Initiative. How do you take initiative? How do you look at a problem? How do you want to solve a problem? Do you ensure that you are the person who starts off looking at a problem in objectivity? Are you looking at solutions? Productivity is also very important as a life skill. You need to be able to ensure that you are there. Today, companies are going to look at only how you're going to be performing. If you're not performing, they say, thank you very much. We've got somebody else waiting in your place. All right. So productivity is very important. And social skills, the most important, like I said, again, collaboration and relating that to social skills, because we are, as humans, we need to have that social touch. Doing these kind of sessions is fine, but unless we are able to see each other face to face, which is why I asked some of you to put, or I had asked everybody, but only a few put on your videos. It makes it more meaningful, it makes it more interesting. All right. These are life skills. These are only some of the life skills, but these are the skills that are going to become very, very important in the coming future. Why do they matter? Because the soft skills are looked as the key drivers of success by all the top business leaders. If you do not possess these life skills, you might have all the technological skills that you might possess, but unless you are able to talk to people, unless you are able to interact with people, unless you are able to collaborate with people, you might not be able to work in a scenario where you are interacting with people. You can't work in isolation. All right. So team building skills is one area which I'll talk about that in some time. Those are other areas where we bring in a lot of interaction. How you interact with people, multicultural, right? You need to prepare for jobs that do not exist today. Hence skills. So we at UBS are always looking out for understanding what is going to happen 2 years hence. When your batch passes out, what are the jobs that are going to be available? What do I need to prepare my students for to be able to get good jobs at that point in time? So there are traditional jobs which will keep on continuing, but there's going to be also change. There are going to be new jobs that will keep on coming up, right? So when we spoke about digital marketing maybe 4 or 5 years earlier, digital marketing today has evolved to a very different level. You need to be able to understand that, all right? Social media again has changed. Internet has increased access. Because of increased access to knowledge, our attention spans have come down. You agree? Memory has come down. The retention has come down. Okay? Because everything's available. That's fine. That's perfectly okay. Nothing against that. That's how technology has evolved. But then we also need to be able to maintain a balance between how much of technology and how much of human we need to remain. Right? So there has to be a balance. You need to be able to understand that. There might be times when you do not have access to technology. Right? So you also need to. So students need to be taught how to apply facts and ideas towards complex problems. That's the only thing that you're going to be facing when you get into a corporate. Even if you're doing a routine, mundane 9 to 5 job, in that 9 to 5 job, you're going to have some problem coming up. You might not have your junior might not come on that day when you need them critically. You're trying to reach a client and that client is not responding. All these things are basically problems which you need to be looking at, and they're going to be coming up at any point in time in your job. Okay. So what do we do at UBS? I'll just give you a brief idea about the areas that we covered as a part of the skill development. So when you come in here, we're building on new age skills. We start with psychometric tests. Okay, so you go through a detailed psychometric test, etc. All that happens. We give you a full report on that, which gives us an idea about how you behave, how you would perform, what are your skills, what are your strengths, what are your areas that you need to work on. A detailed mentoring process, which is across 2 years. You have mentors which are assigned to you, and these mentors become your first point of contact for any challenge that you might be facing. They are mentors who will be working with you every week, every time they're available to you, but you have to be open towards that mentoring process also, right? You can share with them. They will tell you what your skills are, what you need to work on, how you look at your goal. Is that goal something that needs to be revised at certain point in time? What is it that if your goal is fixed, what do you need to do to be able to achieve that goal? That's how deep the mentoring process is. WTS and MOS these are two subjects which are basically focusing on management of self. All right. Talk about adaptability, presentation skills, language enhancement. This is all the areas that we cover when we're doing WTS or MOS. Experiential learning happens to a very large extent because of the clubs. You are a member of clubs, and in these clubs, when you are members of clubs, you are also taking on some responsible positions, maybe as presidents, vice presidents, or treasurers, or whatever you might have as a designation there. But the most important part is you learn to work as teams. You learn to work with other people, right? That's very important, and this is all experiential. Clubs is only one part of the experiential learning. When you're going through your process of even the subjects, the topics, and I'm sure when the program directors talk to you, they will also talk about this. That every module that you learn will have an experiential learning component attached to it. So if I'm teaching you sales and distribution, I might ask you to go to the market and see how sales is done. Right? You need to be aware. That's experiential learning. Ethics, obviously very important. Emotional intelligence, working in teams, like I said, environment. So these are the 3 E's that is the basis for Universal Business School: experiential learning, ethics, and environment. Personal branding is another area which we talk about. So how do you make your own self into a brand? There's a full process that we take you through. Working very closely with each student on identifying what specialization you should take. So you might come with an idea that I've been doing. So maybe you're working in an organization doing maybe sales, for example, and you want to change over to maybe an HR role or maybe a finance role. Is that the right change for you? Right? So this is all linked to how we work with you closely in terms of understanding your strengths, your areas of improvement, and linking it to your goals. And that's how the specializations are built in. So we'll probably, there'll be a lot of people here who will be able to help you to identify what your specialization should be. Looking at you as a person. Should never follow somebody else because somebody else is, or my best friend is doing finance as a specialization, I will also do finance as a specialization. You might not be the right cut for that. Each person is looked as an individual. That's how we'll have to work with you individually. And there are sessions which are done on basically different sectors that are there, the job sectors which are there, or maybe the companies which are there in each sector, and what are the job roles that are offered. So you start preparing yourself for those job roles. You start preparing yourself for the kind of role that you are aspiring for, right? Unless you know which role you want to do, you don't know which sector you want to get into, it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to identify what kind of a company I should be sitting for when I go in for my internships. All right. Continuously, there are going to be GDs and PIs which are going to help you to understand how to approach these. And we also have a lot of boot camps. Boot camps are majorly focused on how you will be able to approach a certain. So let's say there's a company coming on a campus in the next week. Maybe it's let's say, for example, Deloitte coming on a campus for hiring. The week before that, you will have somebody from Deloitte, maybe some of our alumni who come onto campus will talk to you about what Deloitte does, how will you be able to clear those interviews, what is it that is expected from a person who sits for a Deloitte. These are boot camps which are done. All right. So these are all the activities which are done, and this is the circle of transformation experiential learning which happens at Universal Business School. So this is how all the activities are done. So this is an all-round development which we're talking about. There's sports, health, general well-being, all this stuff. There's a leadership development potential where we talk about the clubs where you show your leadership qualities. You're working with teams, you show your leadership qualities. These are all the other activities which talk about experiential learning. All right. So this is how the transformation happens. So irrespective of the time, whether it is 10 months, 12 months, 13 months, or 18 months, or 24 months, irrespective of that, this change needs to happen. And this change can only happen if we work hand in hand. We can push you, but then you need to walk that line too. All right. So it's important that this happens. Change, my dear friends, is the only constant. You need to keep changing. Life changes, times change, technology changes, everything changes. So only how you respond to that change is going to help you to adapt to that change. That's something you need to understand. That's very, very important. Okay? And that change is something that we would want to bring about in each and every of the people who come onto campus in UBS. So you should be able to see when you came into UBS, what were the skills that you possessed 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months down the line. What are the skill sets you possess? How have you changed as a person? How have you changed as an individual? How have you changed as a potential employer, as a potential employee? How have you changed as a potential businessman? These changes have to be marked and they get done here. Alright? Thank you very much. Any questions? And I'm willing to take them. Suddenly we are so serious, right? Game खेलते खेलते तो मजाक कर रहे थे, मजा हो रहा था. Now suddenly everybody is quiet. Yes, any questions? I'm willing to take any questions. Arnab, Yash, Nayan and Chirag, you can put your hands down unless you have a question, unless you want to say something. Yes, Nilanjana.
Sir, I had a question related to, actually I was kind of confused as to what branch I should be going in for, because as far as my research goes, that UBS is very good for the marketing branch, but also I had kind of a slight interest towards finance. So that in itself is a confusion for me. So one thing that I would like to know from you is, are there any investment banking kind of jobs coming to the campus for finance?
So it's not exactly investment banking, but you graduate towards investment banking, right? So it's more of consulting, where you get into consulting companies or working with banks in a role which is more consulting, and then from there you move into investment banking.
Okay.
But investment banking ultimately is the core.
Is where
So
we
investment
belong.
banking requires, and honestly, if you ask me, investment banking requires a little knowledge of finance, but a larger information about sales.
Yes.
Being able to sell. How you can convince the person across to buy what you want to sell them.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're playing with their money.
Yes. Also, sir, since I have a very technological background, like I have done BC and then I've been working at Cognizant for the past 4.5 years. So, I have been in a risk consulting role. So that's why I was thinking whether sales would be the right thing for me.
That we'll talk about. Once you're here on campus, all these things will happen. Don't worry. This is all a natural progression. You might find that you would not want to do risk management anymore and want to do sales. That's perfectly okay.
Okay. Sure. Looking forward.
My background, I started with sales. I did marketing while doing sales with an organization. Then I moved totally into HR. I was running a recruitment company of my own.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter. And today I'm teaching, which I don't know anything about.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I have a question as well.
Yes, sir.
So, I have enrolled in the global MBA program, and the time frame part that you told us for the PGDM part, which is for 24 months. Since
you get full 24 months. You get full 12 months. Don't worry about that.
Okay. The part where you told us about the recruiting part, since they'll be getting more months.
But the people who are in the global program will join the companies only after you finish your program, because you have a very shorter program.
Yes, exactly. That is why
your joining happens later, once you completed the program.
Yes. So, do we have to, give more or work hard in a better way than the ones those who are doing the 2-year program? I just want to,
I don't really say that, Tarun, but I would say that yes, because your program is shorter, you will definitely have to put in more hours. But it's not that you putting in more hours is going to result in other people putting in lesser hours.
Yeah, that of course is.
So the advantage is that everybody who comes into the global program comes with about 4 years of work experience. So that's an advantage. So you understand how it works. So you're able to better manage. That's the only challenge. That's the only difference, I would say. Not challenge.
And the recruiting will start with the same, with the PGDM people as well?
Absolutely, with the same, yeah. Same companies, same thing, everything is the same. No difference.
Thank you so much, sir.
You are still UBS students.
Yes,
yeah.
Certainly.
That's important to us. Yes, Arpan.
Hello.
Yes, Arpan.
Yes, sir. I was asking that how are startups promoted at UBS?
Yeah, so we have an entrepreneurship development cell.
And how do we raise money there? We will be taught, how we need to pitch our ideas, everything.
So Arpan, this all depends. This is a longer process because you need to have an idea. The idea has to be tested. If you have a product, then it has to have a prototype. So all those things, and then we come to the funding part. So that's much later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Ayush. Ayush. Ayush.
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask that we all are having different programs. Like I have chosen for the Cardiff GMP. So how does our mentorship differs? Like, do we have different kind of mentors for different programs, or it is all the same?
Mentors are mentors.
Sorry.
Mentors have the best interests of the mentees at heart.
Okay.
All right. So irrespective of what program you are, the mentor is a mentor. The mentor will always work towards helping you get better, become a better version of yourself. So it doesn't matter whether it is a Cardiff mentor or teaching Cardiff or teaching this or that. Doesn't really matter.
No, sir. But the criteria for evaluation and the structure of the program remains the same, and
these are things. Yeah. So these are things,
differs.
Ayush. Yeah. So these are things, Ayush, which I think will be better answered by since it's more academic in nature. These will be answered by the program directors. Yeah. I might not have the expertise. So if it's something to do with the skill development area, that definitely I will take over. We can take only, we've got 4 hands on top. We'll only take these 4 questions and we got to close. And I hope you enjoyed. Yes, Moksh, quick.
Sir, I wanted to know about CMAP, sir.
Yeah, that's a very interesting project. And you get to learn hands-on. What do you want to know about CMAPs?
It's
a hands-on project. Yeah,
yes,
so you're working with an organization, you're working at the organization and helping them find solutions to problems that they're facing. In a nutshell.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Ray.
Good evening, sir. There is I have one particular dilemma, specifically in negotiation skills. As right now I'm working, so in hand, if suppose I have 5 to 6 activities in which I'm engaging myself in planning as well as in billing department, right? So my senior manager came and they put me into tasks some 2 or 3 activities. Now at that moment, I thought I do not have 12 or 14 hands to do many type of activities at the same time. And the more important thing is that I have also a deadline to complete and execute it.
I got that.
No, the main basic prospect point of view I want to know is how to deal in such types of circumstances and how UBS will help me in dealing such types of matters along with the negotiation skills.
So like I said, Bhatruari, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So you need to just take a step back, analyze, and then take a step forward.
Sorry.
So situations. Yeah, I know I can't give you a full answer right now, obviously, because of paucity of time. But yes,
sir.
you learn. You will learn. There will be situations like this where you'll be inundated with work, with presentations to be done until late evening, and assignments to be done in the night, which have to be submitted early morning tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
You got to manage.
But sometimes, sir, it was a little bit.
So those negotiation skills, yes, we will talk about that. There will be a lot of sessions which will be done. And so why I wanted to tell you about why we did those games was basically that's the approach that we have. So all these, like he's talking about, negotiation skills. I will do a game with you on negotiation skills. It could be a role play. It could be something else. So that you are able to understand the situation better. That's how it works. Yeah. Yes, Vishesh, quickly.
Okay, good morning, good evening, sir. So firstly, I just want to know, as we are talking about skill sets. So for example, there are 2 people. One is doing the specialization in marketing and other is doing in HR. So they both will possess the same skill set, or there will be some change in both the person?
No, obviously you'll have different skill sets, right? Some of the skill sets remain the same, but some will differ in terms of the intensity of the skill sets.
Okay, sir.
Yes, Anushya. Second last question.
Good evening, sir. So since I'm a fresher, I have completed my BTech a previous year only. So what extra challenges a fresher has to face while doing an MBA?
No challenges. See, it's all about adaptability. Right? If you look at it as a challenge, it becomes insurmountable. becomes difficult. But if you look at it as something that you need to do, it's very easy. You'll find a way to do it. Right? And there's enough support, more than enough support.
So I'm a bit afraid because most of the people are experienced having, and I don't have any clue about what is happening.
Doesn't matter at all. It's the approach that you have that's more important. You have a positive approach, everything falls into place. Experience something you will gain, right?
Yeah.
So somebody has a 3-year head start over you, doesn't matter. How does it matter? Yes, Kyan.
Yeah, my question is a bit similar, sir. Like even I am a fresher, and like according I heard about CMAPs and everything, like hands-on learning and everything. And in our previous session, we were told like based on your performances, you will be sent for CMAPs, and certain people will be held back in campus.
Yeah.
So will it be any difference? Like for example, like I'm a fresher, someone with experience would be like an added advantage for them. So maybe
performance
maybe
is,
all.
I think what was mentioned about performance was your performance in the academics, and obviously attendance and all those other things that you're supposed to do on campus. So
Yeah,
that
of
is
course.
one of the
So,
major
like,
areas.
So would it be like difficult for the freshers? Like meaning, would
Not
there
at
be
all.
things that you are supposed to like really learn before like job,
Not
like
at all.
for example,
Not
for
at all.
jobs and everything?
Not at all. Believe me.
Okay.
It's not difficult. Nothing is difficult unless you think that it is difficult.
Okay.
It's all here.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And this is the thing that I have to fine tune, which I'll do. Don't worry.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you enjoyed the session.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Last question.
Enjoyed it a lot. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Shall we close?
Thank you,
Vishnu,
sir. One last question. Thank you, sir.
Who's that?
Sir, myself.
Yes, Simran.
Sir, actually, even I was having confusion in case of my subjects. I mean, the subjects I'm going to choose for PGDS course. So, can you guide a little bit, sir?
I didn't get that. I mean, what confusion about the course? Course or something? Was it
No,
the
sir,
subject?
not course, sir. About selecting my subjects, dual subjects. I mean, 2 specializations I have to select. So,
There's enough time.
What?
There's enough time. When you're on campus, there's enough time.
Okay, sir.
We'll help you all that.
Okay, sir.
So I need to, or anybody else on campus needs to know you better about your strengths and weaknesses, and then only we'll be able to tell you where you need to go.
Okay.
Right? Randomly, we wouldn't tell you anything.
Okay.
All right. Risha ma'am, are we good to go?
Yes, sir. We can wind up the session now.
Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you
you,
all,
sir.
and I look forward to seeing all of you
Thank
on
you, sir.
campus soon.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
And have some more
Thank you,
talks.
sir. Same here.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir. Thank you, sir.